The self-evolved soul. This title was given to me earlier today when I decided to go on a rampage in my mind with, how come I feel so low when I know that my natural state of being is more of lifting myself up to see the beauty of the world? I wasn't feeling right. Now, what does that mean? I go in and I do my honest assessment of my molecular data, right? How many people are saying I create from a place of DNA transformation? And if my body is somehow not producing the results that others think I need to be producing, then I start to feel a little bit low. How many people say what Brenda's doing is beyond most people's ability? It's the probability of hitting those high notes when you're feeling low, right? How come I'm feeling low today? I don't know, maybe because so many souls are saying you need to go in and feel the pain and discomfort of being who you are. That's what this soul work is about, right? And then we realize, oh crud, I forgot. I'm not supposed to be reinforcing the negative in my life most of the time. It's actually the opposite. And this is where many are going to start to laugh. We have to disconnect from those souls in our minds that everything I do is supposed to be about learning more about myself, right? How am I to do that if I don't accept the beauty of everything that I am in the moment? Whether or not someone else cares to align with me or not is a whole different story, right? I understand the nature of change makers. Do you know how many change makers I see on videos who are saying we need to be angry in order to make change? Yeah, this is a doozy of a doozy coming up for most of us, right? When you go to soul, you don't want to be angry at the world because you vibrate in it and then you start to hear it coming back to you. Excuse her. Her soul has been on the same level of love for her whole life. I know how to vibrate in the beauty of love of all. I get disheartened when I see others who are saying, I need to hate you because you aren't me in some way, shape, or form. Excuse her. What does that mean? Those who say that in order for us to evolve out of the nature of my body feels so good when I'm in a vibrational state of being that is of love for everybody, right? It's not. It's about who I love, right? How many people know that I do my soul work and I hear the beauty of those that I align with? And then there are those who say we're not doing the work correctly. This is the nature of that vision of I have to do work on myself, right? What about ethics and prosperity? How many people are in that place of I want prosperity? So my soul will tell me this topic is for you. How many people know what it's like to say, I've been told by so many people how to be in my mind that I have to discard just about everybody, right? It's not. You just don't take it on and you say, I can understand why you feel you need to do that in order to lighten your own load or to lift others up. How many people are saying, I lift others up in the moment by telling them something they may not want to hear? This is a beautiful expression. Okay, it doesn't mean that there's something inherently wrong with who you are. It could be a mindset that we create with, or those that we surround ourselves with who are saying, you aren't on the same page as me, therefore I'm not in agreement with you. You know how many people I don't align with? The majority of the people of the world, right? Or are those the souls that are making headlines by crossing people off the list? I'm going to cancel this cultural identity, or I'm going to cancel this person's identity, or I'm going to cancel this. This is the nature of what we don't do. It's not about canceling anyone out as less than. And most people don't want to know what that feels like. Okay? Because if you go in with this idea that what I'm attracting is the beauty of who I am from my soul's understanding. This is why you do Soul Embodiment 101. It's another series of videos that are going to be coming out to highlight the pros and cons of doing that work. It means you don't always go to people and say there's something wrong with who you are. Now, the self-evaluation, right? This is about evolvement. I literally am a reflection of who you are, is where most people go when they go to soul. You're showing me more about who I am. Either I'm rejecting that vision or I'm enhancing it, right? Do I accept it? Do I love it? Brenda goes from this place of, I'm talking about a topic, not about who you are as soul. If you identify with a topic as a part of your identity, you might want to sit back and listen to the words of wisdom that come through from those higher levels of love. I can take a topic and unwind the vision without putting the emotional backbone into it that others say we need to do. You don't want me angry and creating from that place. Guaranteed. When I'm on a soul level, you don't want me coming through as anger. I could. I have. It's not pleasant when you start to hear it come back to you from various realms. So you see the vision of love, and how many people will say, what is she doing to get into that place of love of self? It's the strength that I inhabit and I always have. I see people as loving and caring in various visions. Most that I came across in my journeys do not belittle me or do not, it's like caretake me in my mind, right? Most people I know are loving and caring people to certain people in their lives. They may not express the affection to every single person they come across. There are those, it's like the minutia of soul visions that she hears from. We're all assuming that people are bonding on a soul level. That's what happens. You find out who you really are from various fields of understanding. You create with those ideas of I am evolving in the moment. This is what we're doing. So when I create from a place of health and prosperity, that's what comes my way. Get it together, people. And others are saying, she was hearing that. It's Brenda. Get it together, Brenda. You don't look the way that others look. Right? So this is that natural affinity that people have to say you did something because you were able to have the unconditional love surrounding you as a child. I had my struggles with my own family, but I always knew and planted the seed of love that even when they didn't express it, that the love was there. I knew it. How about that for a revelation? As a child, I could see the pain and anger and have the compassion and the justification in my own childlike mind that they were themselves hurting so much that they couldn't express the beauty of love as I wish I would have had it expressed to me by certain fields of vision. That's the childlike innocence of I know I create from that vision. So just because everyone in my atmospheric vision, there's something going on. This is the collective vision that she's coming for. You see, she creates from a collective vision And many are still in the vibration of, I'm a tribal entity trying to make headway in this world. And you have to understand, some of us are in that vision of my tribe is what matters. And Brenda is in the vision of, I can see the collective from a place of global impact. And I'm telling you, people, trying to get people to feel bad about who they are is not where we want to go on the global collective level of love. Because it means we create as a collective vision. This is how we have to raise the vibration of the planet. That's not a joke. Okay? If you are a vibrational being, think about what vision of desperation many are in when they go to that vision of, I am evolving my soul from a place of I'm desperate for attention. Right? So many people are desperate to have their voices heard because they were silenced as children. This is one of my own issues that I have had to unwind. And then I say to myself, but I have the golden ticket to my own paradise. Okay? And what I can do is bring that vision not just to myself, but to others. These are those ideas. But this is that idea that someone, somewhere, has all the answers to everyone's prayer, right? It's not about demeaning prayer. But those who are in it's like the otherworldly realms know the vision of how I am creating. And what I am creating is what is being presented before me. If I am being presented with visions in it's like my social circle, I align with those who are pretty much grateful for their lives and their livelihoods, and they expect the best. They honor the vision of, I'm expecting pretty good outcomes for the majority of my family, right? Some of them are in tragic circumstances. However, what they haven't done is place their vision on anything other than, I need to be rescued by somebody else's vision. That's the danger zone for many. Because you're creating from a place of, I am on my way out. Or, I am in such desperate need of salvation. These are other tools of visions where people would say, now I see the point. You want to align others with the visions that can carefully and it's like promptly inspire people to do better, right? That's what a lot of people are doing. I want people to do better. For whom and why? What does that mean for you? What does better mean for you? What does wise mean for you? See, that's where those souls will go. Are you looking for wisdom or are you looking for dictates? See, that's the difference. Many understand that those of us who've gone through the process of soul have undergone physical, emotional, mental struggles from various realms of enlightenment. It's not just here on this earth plane. We bring back our souls and we have to integrate that vision into our being. And when you do so from a place of love of self, that's what you have to hit first. That means you don't let others put you in a place of less than. You don't even caretake the vision that there is someone else who's walked this plane who is somehow more worthy of self-love, right? That's that vision. Self-love is something you grant yourself. Now, if you grant that vision to yourself, why in the world are you not wanting that same sense of love of self to come upon the majority of the masses who are in the vision of I'm doing the best job I can with what I know in the moment. So if I say to you, I love you, that's the nature of it. You are loved. And we tell each other that on the soul level. I hear it from souls. Okay? These are not to be taken for granted. These heart-centered souls that are struggling so much with various ideas in their minds. And then we realize as souls, I don't have to feel bad because someone else wants me to feel bad. Okay, we're being reinforced in various fields of development to feel guilty about being born. That's one of them. Others will say they are inherently flawed coming upon the earth plane. Thanks, but no thanks. I don't have to create with that vision. It will mess with your mind in the physical, potentially. You want to keep creating with that idea that you are somehow flawed because you came to the physical realm? Do you know what that can do to your mindset? So it could just be one of those acknowledgments to those souls who's saying, I was of original sin and I created an idea in my mind as a child that I was inherently flawed in my physical, it's like my physical being. So how many people are creating physical, it's like ailments or disabilities because they feel like they were sent here to be physically flawed? Is it a mental construct? Is it portraying itself in the body? I came here with a disability, right? That's where some are. That could be a soul vision. But this idea of things that we have planted in our minds as children or as adults, because some people will go and they'll expand their vision to the idea of soul is of love, soul is of love, soul is of love. That's what it is. It doesn't matter what condition you brought with you into this world. You are of love. You were not, forsaken. Right? Others are going to say this is a controversial, impact vision. It is. Because if you are able to then do the focusing on those higher levels of learning within systems that don't focus on that idea that you are flawed, that's when you rise. Okay? This is not about a judgment or it's like a condemnation of any one system. It's about the nature of what you focus on is what you create. How many people now start to unwind the vision of Brenda as she's focusing on health, correct? My health is of fortune. I'm fortunate in my health. I created health issues as a child. I came into this world like that. And I managed to lift myself out of that vibration that there was anything actually wrong with who I was. I never did buy into that vision. I'm being honest with you. Does it mean that that's somehow better for you? Not even close. What works for you is what works for you. But when you think about the nature of joy, do you want your DNA to be transmitting to itself that it is somehow flawed in the mind? Do you want to create from the place that my thoughts create my beauty? I'm getting more and more viewers to buy into that vision of Seth, right? That's what people are going to say. If you believe that you are inherently flawed, please think twice, is what most people of soul vision would say. If you need to feel like there are other souls who have higher levels of wisdom, you are absolutely correct in that vision. It is about the idea of what we are creating here, not what we need to aim for when we cross over to another field of enlightenment. enhancement, enchantment, creation. You learn how to do the work as soul. That's what we do. We learn how to create, and we learn how to experience the joys and wonder, disappointments and despair, the best that we can while we're here on this plane. And then we wonder to ourselves, why is my experience not the best? Right? Who am I working with? Are people enjoying themselves? It's like on the screen. So for those of you who may often wonder, why am I surrounding myself with negative? This is why when you go through this process of soul embodiment, you will tend to kind of split off from people who are not exactly supportive of who you are and your process of discovery. Okay? It's like enlightenment visions. That's what some people will say. Enlightenment means I can do whatever I want. Yeah, it can. And you will have your hat handed to you by many. You will also reveal yourself in various fields of enlightenment, which doesn't mean that there is it's like the productivity of soul. This is about people who are claiming enlightenment means that you're better than. Not even close. Okay, when you go to your soul, though, you know what you know, which is basically not much. Many assume they have it all figured out, and then they go out and they spread the word to everybody, not knowing where the other person is actually at in their vibration or in their state of being. And you figure it out very well when someone actually can understand that. If you hear from their soul directly, you might want to sit there and pay attention. Okay? Many people are assuming that they've got guidance from higher levels of love that are going to tell them exactly what they need for everybody. It is for those who are in alignment with who you are. That's why people use the value systems to do that work. And then they might realize this doesn't suit me anymore. We tend to decondition ourselves from a lot of the conditioning because we then hold our own souls in the highest of esteem. And that's what she grants you as this one. I grant your souls the wisdom of who you are and who you are meant to be. We think we know it all here. We know very little about the nature of what our own soul is until we rise into those visions. Okay? Some people are here to do destructive visions. These are soul level understandings. Okay? Some things are meant to leave our plane of enchantment so that we can bring more of the new vibration in, is what people are saying. But by golly, most people do not know where other people's vibrational inputs are coming from. And I'm telling you right now, don't judge somebody based on what they look like or what they feel like to you, because it could be they are in a higher vibration than you are. You may just be feeling the discomfort of someone who is of the high, and you are not there yet. I went through that process. Okay? You revolt against society. How many people know what that means? Right? I encase everyone in the golden ages of love, right? There's a golden age that we're going to be coming into at some point, but it is of love of all. That's a different vision for those who are wondering. If I go to my own soul, then my vision says, we got to do what's best for you. Okay? That's what happens with your soul, is that you then realize that you're not just creating as a lone wolf, but many will start to take on that vision, and it can become, it's like very it's like you start to separate from the value system of all. But some of you will need that vision of, I am the lone wolf. You are never a lone wolf. You have soul vision behind you, creating the vision of love. So some of these visions will seem like they are in contradiction to each other. We want you to understand there are different messages for different souls. So some people are aiming for those highest of highs, and others are saying soul alignment is where it's at. Okay? And it's an understanding that we get to vibrate with the beauty of my love of my life, my love of my soul, my love of my whole being. That's what you come into contact with. And they cherish you. It's they, not I. But it's the inherent I. And when you've done it's like the reunification process can be painful for some of us to realize what we've created with others. You're granted forgiveness always, right? It's a higher level of love. In essence, there's no wrong. That's that vision. So many people are doing like the splits. There's someone there that's a gymnast. Anyways, it's the vision of I'm creating with souls who are kind of clapping in their mind, but they're also a little scared of what that process would bring. It's because of the fear that's been planted in our minds. And you have to bravely, look forward to creating with your soul. My soul says I'm the most beautiful woman, right? They wouldn't say it that way, okay? It's more like you get adored and you get to hear the negativity that you've also aligned with at certain points in your journey from different planes of enchantment. Some of them are going to say they weren't so enchanting. And so that's why we still do the vision of I love who I am here most often. You ground yourself in the reality of who you are here because we don't want you getting lost in someone else's vision either. And that's why you have to come into your own state of being and say, where am I really? Where am I really? Do I really have to feel bad because someone else wants me to feel bad? Or guilty? Or shamed? Those are visions of love, but they have collateral damage written all over them. Versus loving guidance. Here's where you are. Take it with a grain of salt. If it resonates with you, by all means, keep coming back for more. So we want you to realize that the evolution of our hearts is on the line. I'm better than Brenda is where many will go. Understanding they've done the switch to a higher level of love for themselves. And in that vision of those souls who are saying that, they then realize they've lost the point. You are better at being who you are. You are no better in your vibration, which is just a vibration. Others may judge those vibrations as who is of the most evolved souls. It's a comparison stick that many are using. I compare myself with those around me. And I say to myself, I've already learned that lesson. However, what I have not learned is to discern those who are of battling me in their minds versus those who are just comparing me with who they are. It's a natural progression that we go through of comparing our ideas versus our vibrations or our state of beings. You will see various visions of souls who will portray themselves as of the highest, and then they come forth and say to themselves at some point, I may have messed up at one point, but I am still risen. That's where Brenda is. I am always connected with my heart. I may not portray it in the way that others would see it, because it doesn't sound as high as someone who thinks they have the right message. So you see, her message that she was going to put out was the fear of joy. And in doing her wisdom of allowing her soul to come through, the title became the self-evolved soul, which is about joyfully creating with who we are, wherever we are, with whatever mindset that we have, and still creating a beautiful place of love of ourselves, because we are all doing the work that's needed in different ways. Our souls are beautiful and expanding with every breath that we take, and we honor that vision. So if you want to be joyful, let's be joyful. If you want to be ecstatic, let's be ecstatic. If you want to be hateful, that's a determination that people would have to make on their own. Who's deciding what is hateful versus what is of information that is beautiful for all of us? That's the self-evolved soul, the one that allows their own vision to come through and say, I love you. I may not agree with who you think you are. That's what I give you. I know that vision. I know what it's like to think that I, as Brenda, know who I am. But when I align with those higher levels of love, I hear my visions of past, present, and future coming to me. What does that tell you? I know who I am in a higher level of love. I don't compare my leveling up that some people say it is. It's not a vision of better than. It's just a state of being that I vibrate in. And that's where my soul will congratulate me on that vision. So with that, I want to congratulate all of us for being who we are in this moment and for doing the vision of collective identities. So the vision that myself is some unit of energy to explore with versus when I'm with another is one thing that we're going to talk about. I have a caretaker on my heart that says we're going to talk about the collective entity called global consciousness versus those who say there is no such thing as a global vision, is beyond his soul's vision, where she goes. If you are not in the vision of what global consciousness is, you need to think carefully about the nature of what we're producing. I'm of Seth as a soul. I get his information handed to me very easily. But I'm also of Jane, and I'm also of everyone else who I have ever crossed paths with. I align with the vision of I've done my work. I hear from those souls from my past, my present, and those who I create with that I don't even know. This is why I bring through the soul information of celebrities or people of wonder, right? We will talk about that vision of Charles Darwin and the evolution of the species versus the self-evolved soul at another point in time. His vision is saying she's on track to win a Wonder Award because he knows that her soul can ride the ride to heaven that many are claiming that they're working with. It's a heavenly realm that most are worried about. Okay, will I make it there? Well, what does that mean to you? Your journey is it's like your ticket there. So let's enjoy the ride. Let's enjoy the wonder of this experience before we cross over into those other planes of awareness, right? Your dreamscape visions are giving you clues to what you're creating with. And that's the nature of light. Many are in the light vision saying, oh, well, she's just repeating the vision. I have my own soul in the line that gives me the visions, and it has nothing to do with Jane or Seth. I create with celebrities on TikTok. And when I say celebrities, I'm talking about people that most people wouldn't know, but they are celebrities in their vision of, I need to make a change. And that's where I had to kind of pull back the curtain and say, why am I feeling so bad? Well, everyone's telling me that I need to feel bad. Not everybody. See, we don't say that. It isn't everybody. It was who I was focused on and who I was creating with. Okay? So the nature of change, self-evaluation is what I do. Where am I and why? And it's like that's the beauty of my soul to come in and say, well, what do you expect? You're watching these videos that are telling you that there's something wrong with you. It's about race in some instances. It's about gender in some instances. It's about guidance in some instances. It's about the love in some instances. Some people will say, you are not loving unless you reach X, Y, or Z, not understanding that they themselves are vibrating in whatever vision they are creating with. Brenda created from a place of, I love who I am, from a personality perspective, and then I go to soul, and that's even higher. So my personality is part of who I am, and so I create from the love of it. It's a self-aggrandizing vision is where some will say she goes. It's the nature of strength of soul to be able to go through this world and say to someone, I know you don't like me. I know you don't like who I am, but guess what? I am. That's the nature of that soul. I am. That's all you need, right? That's what many who she creates with are in the vision of that soul. Why do you think they haven't arrived at that vision? I'm granting you the vision of I am. Please do the same for me, right? And yet people aren't doing that, right? So that's the nature of where we go. It's a beautiful vision, but it does affect our physical being, what we create within our minds, okay? And that's the beauty. Many are going to say the split off is about to happen. There is a split in the evolution of soul that many are creating with. They're saying there are groups of souls that are going one way and others another way. We're not leaving anyone behind. We're not going to create any disparities between people now rushing to figure out. This was what Brenda created with. She's like, I'm not going to do that. This makes no sense. I was supposed to catch a ticket to the higher realms by 2010? 2012? Oh, I'm sorry. Does that mean that the soul's coming in now? I'm sorry, you're too late. You didn't make it. You can't catch that ticket to paradise. I'm telling you, there's a lot of false flag visions also that are being brought through that are basically saying to themselves, this is not the right ticket for me. It's true. We are not telling people that everything is false that you've created with. There's no such thing in essence, but it can give you a different experience of who you are. Okay, that's the kind of idea you want to think about. Okay, this isn't a bunch of hooey, is it? Other people are creating with that idea. And then it's like, well, do you have any, future predictions to come through? We're going to talk about what people were saying to Brenda, because she was told, oh, there's a false flag. She was creating with someone in her mind who is literally labeling other visions of destruction as false that has actually happened on this plane. And that's why she says, I gotta go. I'm not creating false flags. Okay? This is a disruption in the vision. But it is. Sometimes you have to disconnect from people who are trying to institute a vision of destruction of this planet that is not exactly correct. It is a shift in the consciousness of the planet. It is not a doomsday, end of days scenario. Get it through your minds, right? No, it's up to you. You always have the free will to create from the idea of I want the world to end versus I think we all need to make an adjustment potentially in how we look at ourselves and others. And maybe we're going to have these visions that will come through and either lift us up to a higher place of looking at others, or we can see the destructive visions for what they are. Those who are acting out, it's like the characters in the play who are acting out the destructive visions, showing us maybe we don't want to go and align with that kind of vision. Or it could be the lessons of love that we needed in the moment. Okay, bombings are happening around us, right? Not even close. Brenda doesn't create from that place of I've got bombs. There's something else going on in the Ukraine. She'll bring through more about, it's like those visions of destruction and why they are there. Because people will say Putin is evil and he is admitting defeat in his mind with most people on the planet. And it is a destructive vision for him because his ego is having a struggle with the idea that I wasn't right in my abilities to comprehend the complexity of the war in which I created. I am not able to declare success on a soul level, but I did the vision as best as I could for the people of Russia. I made a mistake in my evaluation of who I thought I was, who I think I am currently, and who I declare myself to be in the future. I will ride that ride as long as possible, is where his soul is. He wants no protection from any source of soul. He says to himself, I know how to do the vision of destruction so that my agenda is now planted in the seeds of many. He feels like he is a warrior of soul. He assumes he is no such thing on this plane, though. He is of ego and of belittlement in the minds of many. But he gets reinforced by many who have bowed down to his idea of what it is to be of power. Power plays are what he specializes in. He is of kernels of truth, just like many are planting here, taking notes. Kernels of truth, and then spinning them to make it seem like they have what's going on figured out. So, his soul is indeed evolving into a higher level of love, but it's not what we would want to say, right? He knows he made it's like a big mistake on a soul level. But there is no such thing as mistakes in essence, but his own soul is seeing the output of destruction versus the input of love and charisma that he claimed he had is now being destroyed by many. He's losing friends left and right in his mind because many are afraid of his vision. He wants no part of any soul vision. That's why he restricts religion in his country, and that's how he looks at it. It's an ownership issue. It has nothing to do with the people of Russia as much as it is my people of Russia. Do you see the difference in how we come through? right? That's his nature. I am of ownership. I own this country. That's the shift we're going through. We don't own the land. We inhabit it. Others will say, but I purchased it for a pretty penny. But it's temporarily rental is basically what it is. It's like a rental. You're not actually owning it in the sense of your vibration. People will say, but it's been passed down. It is ownership, but the boundaries are there to be, it's like levied at any point in time. Anyone can come in and destroy the whole vision, and then there would be no ownership of it in essence. But it's more like the soul level understanding. You don't look at someone and say, I'm owning this, and therefore it is mine and only mine. We are all creating from different planes of love. That's a higher level. Others don't understand it, right? Because it's this idea of like, this is my country versus our vision of love in this plane that we happen to inhabit. It's getting a little freaky on the soul level. He is of struggle because of that idea that he thought he owned the vision. It literally is like, this is my land, our country, 'tis of thee. This is what we also have to deal with. We own, it's like, we own planes of enchantment. So others are going to try and say they're going to create their own realm. Brenda tried that vision. Let me create my own plane then. But it's not really that. It was more like create a different plane. It's not. She goes to a different realm of love. And she had to learn the hard way, because then you find out very fast that there aren't very many souls there with you. And then it's like the vibration becomes very muted. Okay? Because that's how bad it was. When you go to that place, you become lost in certain areas. Because you're like, I don't know who I'm creating with, and this is very, very, weird and odd, and it doesn't feel right. So that's why you ground yourself in this realm, and then you can go explore. It's this plane, but we're in a realm of love. Others will say they're in the realm of hate. Not even close. Most people are not even vibrating in the vision of hatred for most of their lives. Okay? Unless they are in the destructive. It's a heart-centered soul, right? Others will say, my heart is filled with hatred. No, it is not. That's your mind. Okay? True hatred hasn't been seen yet on this plane. Without the Hitler vision that others are saying was destroyed. It's been transmuted by so many souls, because of the level of devastation that was caused in that vision. That's why those rulers who think they have it all figured out have had their hat handed to them left and right. And that's why that some of those who caretake their souls will say, we learn the lessons from them and we do better. Let's not repeat our mistakes. There's no repeating of anything. It's a whole different dynamic. But there are generalities that we can say to ourselves, let's not repeat that kind of vision, right? We're not going to drop bombs of nuclear on everybody, correct? That vision is still at play in some people's minds. He has his own idea. He's using it threateningly. He's going to threaten people with it. But it's in his own best interest as soul to say, I will not take that vision in at all. So that's the nature of our souls coming through. He has his intuitive visions as well. This is where you all are. My intuition is telling me it's like baloney. He's very disturbed. We have the disturbing visions that many are planting. Let's assume he loves his family. Okay, let's assume he loves his family. and has no desire to create international conflict. That's different versus I'm here to destroy the globe. Okay? So Brenda's going to get her hat handed to by some people who say they have a higher vision of who they are, and they want that vision handed to them. Putin is who he is. He's of love, of hate. He does hate people, but he has plenty of love for those around him. It depends on his vision in the moment. He will be very suspicious of most people going forward. He is afraid for his life and his party. Okay, he's of a party as well, but he's basically taken over the vision of it. Don't do the same thing we did, is what he says, as a soul. Don't align with those who want to destroy your country. That's a warning for all of us here. He controls many, many things in that country, and his own vision of I am the one and only. That's what he's saying. So, with that vision of love, whoa, man, he's got a high soul vision though. He's strong. He's strong in his vision. But he's also carefree when he's with his love. He says, I have a love who helps lift me up. And that's what people need to know. Okay? Many don't like these visions because it means we have to go in, look in the mirror and ask ourselves, if I want to love who I am, why do I feel like I want others not to love who they are? And we would then say, well, they're treating people, but that's a whole different kind of evolution. We want you to focus on your own soul's vision of who you are. How do you love yourself? How do you keep yourself high? How do you envision yourself in the future? Do you plant seeds of love for yourself? Or are you always angry? Some of those souls are so angry all the time. Anger, anger, anger. And their souls are like, man, is this going to feel good when they get out of it? I don't have to be angry to make the changes that I see that need to be made in the world. Align with that. I have a higher vision for who we are. Let's take the steps forward. So with that, be at peace. That's what his soul says, be at peace, my friends. And others would say, he's no friend of mine. He is a friendship. But on a soul level, we do connect. Okay, we want to create with that vision of world peace. It's the way forward. Others will say it's also back. Many are coming back to tell us we're on a good path with the society in which we're creating with, that are doing the works of wonder, that allow for us to see our own missteps, see our own values be deconstructed, and ask ourselves, does this serve me well? Don't plant the seeds of destruction for us as a species. Beautiful beings of love will know how to cheer you up when you're feeling like the world is letting you down. That's how we do it. So with that, take care and be at peace. Live in a world of wonder. You have to open your soul to the field of vision of, I am amazed at who I am and who we are and where we are in our evolution compared to the death and destruction of so many years ago. Okay? It's not the same. Quit repeating those visions of old as if they are here now. Make the change that makes it not happen. Okay? So have a wonderful and peaceful journey in your hearts for the rest of your lives, right? It's a lifelong journey to peace. It's in a moment for most. So take care.